started off work at the Sunday Mercury as a reporter and eventually became investigations editor. Even pre-9/11, I was beginning to do stories with an Islamic slant. As a British-born Asian myself, I had a certain affinity with these young guys, and when I was interviewing them, I could speak to them in their own language. The checkpoint, it basically is, where Peshawar stops and the tribal areas begin, and there's a sign that clearly says no foreigners beyond this point.
Okay, Mardeep.
Okay, thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It was slowly coming home to me exactly where I am and how dangerous a place this is. This was a place where the Taliban and Al-Qaeda were fleeing and regrouping. And as we got closer and closer to Kabul, we were being stopped every few miles. Eventually they let us through. So we were kind of ushered into the city, and that was it. We were in Kabul proper. The first impressions I got was the utter devastation of the city itself. On a street level, looking at these people eye to eye, you could see the sadness and the sorrow and the fact that no, life isn't back to normal and isn't about to get back to normal. The next day, my plan was to speak to as many people as possible, many ordinary people as possible. By the end of the day, I felt I'd really managed to get to the heart of what Kabulis are thinking. Well, we had a pretty early start the next morning. We wanted to get back into Pakistan before nightfall. No Shad managed to find somebody with the right price, and we seemed to be comfortable with him.
Come on, guys.
The taxi driver, he seemed a bit suspicious, I suppose, as to what we had been doing there. He was very interested in me in particular. A part of me definitely, in a physical sense, felt fear and panic. We've done all the hard part, as far as I could see. We've managed to come in and out of Afghanistan unscathed. Is this where it all is going to go wrong?
Show your passport!
In the end, he just said, get your passport out and start waving it around.
Okay.
It was as simple as that. I pulled out my British passport and, like the Red Sea, everyone kind of parted in front of me, and managed to make my way to the front of the crowd and ended up on the other side and finally got into Pakistan. As soon as I got onto the Pakistani side, they checked my passport, and he had a quick flick through my passport and noticed that I didn't have a multiple visa. Our hands were shackled with these old kind of iron fetters, all very medieval looking and quite frightening, I suppose, really. I was definitely scared. Probably remember actually, trembling in fear at the thought of, well, what happens now? It was very dark, and it was difficult to make out exactly where we were or where we were going to be kept. But I could certainly see that this was some kind of enclosed area, quite a big gate at the front. It was like something I'd never experienced before. It wasn't happening to me, kind of thing. And there was an overriding smell of hashish, really.
Banana.
And practically every inch of space was taken up. I suppose the feelings of fear and uncertainty were too powerful that I was almost in a state of paralysis for about a good hour or so, where things were happening around me, but I wasn't quite taking them in.